The 21st edition of the FIFA World Cup will be aired live on Bermuda Broadcasting Company. Be a part of the history. You don't want to miss FIFA World Cup 2018.
Live from Bermuda Broadcasting, this is ZBM TV9 News.
You're watching Bermuda Broadcasting News. It's Monday, June the 4th. I'm Diane Brewer, and thank you for joining us tonight. It's not what you say, but how you say it. Shadow Attorney General Trevor Mondes suggesting National Security Minister Wayne Cades would do well to heed the old adage, following what Mr. Mondes describes as a childish outburst in the House of Assembly on Friday. Mr. Cades was questioning comments from Dr. Ian Kawley, the outgoing Chief Justice, about manpower and other issues affecting the judicial service, roundly criticizing Dr. Kawley in the process, something Mr. Mondes believes was uncalled for. Gary Moreno reports.
Mr. Keynes let the Chief Justice have it for his perceived criticism of the government for problems affecting the judiciary. According to Mr. Mondes, most, if not all of these issues stem from problems with fragmentation.
You've got a court that's being used over in the magistrates' court. You have the commercial court up in the government administration building. One time you had a court in the Salvation Army building. You've got a court down on Front Street. You used to have a court upstairs in the Parliament building, court number 2, where the Court of Appeal sat. It means you have to have a receptionist at each place, a secretary at each place, all these duplication of tasks. And that's not Ian Kawley's fault.
So what did the former administration do to fix the problem?
And we were trying to get the Parliament building separated, like upstairs the Parliament building. That court number 2 was taken out, and the Court of Appeal moved to the Front Street building. There was also more use of a spare courtroom in the magistrates' court. So we were making steps to ameliorate the situation, but it's a complex problem, and you bite off bits and pieces and solve it over time. But it's not going to help anything if we're attacking people.
On the issue of the alleged failure of Dr. Kawley to provide opportunities for Bermudians to enter and move up the ranks of the judiciary, Mr. Mondes asserted simply being Bermudian is not a qualification.
I think we have a strong local bar with people who can take on positions, but the idea that people should get the positions just because they're Bermudian is beyond my understanding. We really want someone who's going to do an excellent job. That's what we're looking for. Who's the best person for the job?
Mr. Mondes asserted the attack on the Chief Justice was nothing short of vitriolic.
The Minister of Works referred to the race and the ethnicity of the incoming Chief Justice, and obviously, why would he do that? What has that got to do with anything? It shows that they look at everything through a racial lens. And that's very sad, and they're undermining the rule of law. And if the people in the international business community could see how they behave in the House of Assembly, they would be extremely worried.
The Shadow AG conceded Mr. Keynes did have some measure of argument, but to attack someone, especially the Chief Justice, on the floor of the House of Assembly under the protection of parliamentary privilege was, well, not parliamentary, really.
Getting up there in the House of Assembly, attacking someone whom you know can't defend themselves in that forum, and you're protected from libel laws. Who's the coward? Is it the Chief Justice who's the coward, or the person standing in the House of Assembly?
Gary Moreno, reporting for the Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Hitting back at Mr. Mondes, Minister Keynes said his criticisms were not gratuitous.
I spoke to two things specifically. One was the letter that was submitted by the Assistant Registrar that indicated that the Supreme Court Registry and court-related offices will have to close for a period of time because they are understaffed. My criticism was directly around the Chief Justice and the lack of administration of the courts. I highlighted that the administration of the courts were the purview of the Chief Justice, and that if there was any criticism to be made, it had to be leveled to him, because ultimately the administration of the courts were firstly for the Registrar of the Supreme Court, and she fell under his auspices. The second part of the criticism came around a conversation that we were having throughout the entire day around succession planning and Bermudians being ready for specific posts. I highlighted the fact that in the magistrates court there is no clear plan of succession for Bermudians in that post, and the same is there is the exact same position in the Supreme Court. There was no direct disrespect in my comments for the Chief Justice or the incoming Chief Justice, Narendra Hagan, another man who I have a great deal of respect for. This is indeed not personal. We have a country where we need direction and we need leadership, and Bermudians must see clear plans, not just in the police service, not in the judiciary. We must have clear plans for leadership for young Bermudians to matriculate and achieve the highest standards and the jobs in the leading posts in our beloved country.
In court news, the former mayor of Hamilton, Graham Atterbridge, and property developer Michael McLean have appeared in court. Their attendance was in connection with a failed $18 million loan to build a luxury hotel on the side of the Parleville car park. McLean's wife, Yasmin, also appeared during the police session. Ed Benevides, secretary for the Corporation of Hamilton, was also set to appear, but the court was told he was off the island for medical reasons. The charges were not read out, as lawyer Charles Richardson indicated his intention to file for a review of the case. Further court proceedings are scheduled for June the 21st. Meanwhile, Minister of Public Works Colonel David Birch is standing by his criticism of the outgoing Chief Justice. He's critical of the failure to train a born Bermudian for the country's top legal post, leading to the decision to appoint Narendra Hagan. Minister Birch said on Friday, quote, "You must produce somebody to take your place other than an Indian," end quote. Mr. Hagan is a status Bermudian, having been born in India.
So I didn't make comments against non-Bermudians. I think that though we have to be honest. What I am saying, and I take a little bit of offense at the suggestion that I would be anti-foreign because I'm pro-Bermudian. You're never going to get me to apologize for that. Every foreign friend that I have are proud of where they come from, and so should they be. And so this is not a criticism of foreigners. We are always going to need foreigners to help us in this country to be successful. I accept that. But that cannot be at the expense or the neglect of training Bermudians. You're never going to get me to apologize for that. I am pro-Bermudian. That doesn't mean I'm anti anything else. But I do think that we need a dose of honesty around here instead of this dancing around every controversial issue without hitting the nail on the head. And I'm sorry, that's who I am.
We'll have more for you after this short break, including worrying news about the vulnerability of blockchain technology, plus the very latest weather forecast. Stay with us.
Listen, baby.
Welcome back. Well, blockchain is often described as incorruptible, a digital ledger in which the past can't be rewritten. But a wave of so-called 51% attacks has caused major concerns. A 51% attack allows a bad actor who controls the majority of a network's computing power to manipulate the blockchain ledger, and in the case of cryptocurrencies, to spend the same coin more than once. Tens of millions of dollars have been lost this way in just weeks. Tony Waterman sat down with Eamon McGuire, the U.S. lead for blockchain at KPMG, and asked him whether a 51 attack only applies to cryptos or if other uses for blockchain are also vulnerable.
Blockchain as a solution or as an application is really, in my view, no different than other kinds of conventional technologies. It too needs to be constructed in a manner that has built-in risk and security provisions, plus additional requirements that need to address things like consensus mechanisms if it is a public blockchain, or that has to do with keys such as the public and private keys. The data itself has not yet ever been challenged from an immutability point of view, but the identity in several cases has in fact been affected because there have been vulnerabilities in the external layer blockchain that has allowed it to be penetrated and identities assumed within the nodes.
Does that mean that people who say that the blockchain is incorruptible, can't be hacked, can't be changed, that they're wrong?
Well, I've never said that it can't be hacked, because we know that it can, and even before the example that you just gave, there have been at least 5 other examples of where blockchains were hacked. But in those examples, the underlying transaction data, the historical data, was never itself actually modified. It remained immutable and unchanged.
If the data isn't modified, does it matter if they're hacked?
Yes, it does matter, because then new data can be added into the blockchain even though the old data remains intact.
So, Eamon, does that mean that we're going to see a new breed of employee, or is this a type of technology that for the average employee who doesn't have an IT background, this will sort of hum along in the background?
I think there will be a new breed of employee. I think there will be the same kind of individual user of systems, because the front end of many of these systems at the individual level is going to be quite like the internet portals that people are using today. But what happens after an individual accesses a portal is going to be quite a bit different. And the requirements in order to build out blockchain solutions, applications, and systems, as well as the APIs and the integration that needs to be done, is going to be quite different. In addition, as blockchain becomes ever more embedded in the economy and in society, it's going to generate mountains of data. And so as that data is created, it's going to, in effect, create and enrich another part of the industry, which is, for the most part, around data analytics. So even though we do data analytics today, the opportunities for data analytics going forward are going to be immensely more rich and to require new kinds of analysis and protocols that are going to create opportunities for employees and organizations who are looking to harvest value from that data. So the wave right now is about blockchain and about constructing blockchain solutions and new business models. I was about to say the echo, but the shout after blockchain is going to be all of the data analytics that come out of it.
Turning to weather news, some showers and some rumbles in our area right now. Here's the latest from AccuWeather headquarters.
AccuWeather is presented by BF&M Insurance Group. We now go to AccuWeather headquarters.
The BF&M Insurance Group is pleased to bring you tonight's AccuWeather forecast. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brittany Boyer, and well, we're starting June off definitely on an unsettled note. I know I'm wearing yellow today. Hopefully we can get some kind of sunshine in the next couple of days, but at this point, looks like we're going to have some showers and also some thunderstorms at least into the next few days. So what we have going on right now, there's actually an area of low pressure to our north, and that's going to be pulling to the north and east, and as it does so, it is going to be generating some rough seas. And in addition to that, we're going to have a frontal boundary working its way toward the island. But with this frontal boundary, it's really not going to go too far over the next couple of days, and it's going to become somewhat stationary, and that is still going to trigger up some showers and even a couple of thunderstorms as well. So if we look at our satellite here over the last several hours, we've had more clouds than sunshine today, that's for sure. We've also had those spotty showers. Expect the shower opportunity to be with us for the next few days. So although we could use some rainfall, we're going to have to watch the next couple of days as we do have rain in the forecast for several days. You'll see that coming up in just a bit. But here's the radar over the last few hours showing those showers into the region. Temperature-wise, You know, even though we're going to have a cold front kind of stationary near us, we're not going to see a big drop off in temperatures. It's actually going to be staying on the muggy side. You can see humidity right now up there, 80 to 85%. The winds, they're a little bit brisk. The good thing is they're coming in out of the south and west, opposed to a northwesterly direction. But the winds are brisk between 20 and 25 knots. The water's in check, but the water's not going to be the place to be over the next couple of days. Waves outside of the reef running between 5 and 8 feet, so very choppy conditions. And in addition to that, we'll have some showers and storms around, possibly into tonight. So breezy, a low of 75, staying muggy with those showers and possibly a thunderstorm. Weather alerts that you need to know about: a thunderstorm advisory is in place through tonight, so make sure you're taking it easy out there. And we have a small craft warning in place through Tuesday morning. So again, some very rough conditions out on the water. Looking at our tidal times here, low tide coming in at 7:10 and our high tide tomorrow coming just before 2 a.m. And tomorrow, another day that you have to be on alert. If you hear thunder, know that lightning is close enough to strike you. Mild, muggy, but unsettled for your Tuesday. And it's also going to be unsettled here in New York City. Atlanta, not too bad. Temperatures in the mid-80s right now. Temperatures are in the mid to upper 80s to near 90 degrees in Jamaica, Barbados, and also in Trinidad. Next couple of days, we've got the unsettled weather with us. Few thunderstorm opportunities possible, at least through Thursday, as this front is stationary. Then it's out of here. More sunshine. We're just going to have to wait until we get closer to the weekend.
AccuWeather was presented by BF&M Insurance Group.
I was diagnosed with illness. Very frightening because my son had just turned 1 and it was a cancer. So I'm young, new baby, and I needed to get the care that I knew would be definitive so that I wanted to be around for him for a very long time. I got in contact with BF&M and BF&M was able to commit at that time to doing at least 50%, so we were comfortable. Okay, well, we're gonna go. We got off the plane actually the day of the procedure, and on my way to the limo, my case manager called and she says, "Kiana, we got it, you're covered at 100%. And I cried all the way to the office because I was just so happy. The BF&M difference is that I really felt that the case manager really was concerned about my overall care, and because of that I really appreciated them. I think that personal care, that willingness to listen, and then to work until they were able to get it so that I could get full coverage really made the difference for me.
This is Rick Blomquist of De Pere, Wisconsin. His life is pretty comfortable. He lives in a comfy home, wears comfortable shoes. He even has a comfortable job. Rick Blomquist thought he had comfort all figured out. But then he laid on a Certa and realized his life was only just sorta comfortable. The new Certa iComfort Hybrid Mattress. Not just sorta comfortable, Certa comfortable.
Feel the difference a good night's sleep can make. Exclusively available at Dreams, Bermuda's only mattress gallery.
I've been diabetic for 13, 14 years.
People develop type 2 diabetes over a number of years.
People can lose their sight. There are other people who have lost their limbs through amputations. There are many people who are on dialysis, and you increase risk for things like strokes and heart disease.
I had fears that I would have a heart attack, or I would have a stroke, or I would lose limbs, or lose my eyesight. The program Diabetes Reversal has made me really realize that it's a lifestyle change.
The program is designed so that the patient can learn to take control of the disease instead of this disease taking control of you.
I feel so good. I feel like I've been given a second chance.
It's not a crash course, it's not a diet course, it doesn't involve supplements or pills or anything like that.
Just take that leap of faith and know that there is a way without medication.
I invite you to take the first step on the journey of the Diabetes Reversal Program here at the Premier Health and Wellness Center.
Welcome back. The government is one step closer to launching the island's first renewable energy plant with the development of solar power units on the Finger on St. David's Island. The Minister of Transport and Regulatory Affairs, Walter Raban, signed an agreement today with Canadian firm Saturn Power to develop the $20 million project. Jasmine Patterson has the details.
Government officials and representatives of Saturn Solar signed on the dotted line today, confirming the new solar power development on a former U.S. Navy munitions pier will go ahead. According to the Minister of Transport and Regulatory Affairs, Walter Raban, 6 of the 9 companies bidding to build it were Bermudian. But Saturn Power, a Canadian firm, won the contract, saying it would produce energy at the lowest cost, 10.3 cents per kilowatt hour.
This project will benefit Bermuda in many ways. One, it will create jobs for Bermudians. Early, it was agreed during the bidding process, which set out that all bidders were required to have Bermudian content in regards to labor, construction, operations, and maintenance post-construction.
The scheme was first suggested in 2015, backed by former Minister of Economic Development Dr. Grant Gibbons. It was said then that in its initial phase, the plant could provide some 6% of Bermuda's peak load at a much lower cost than fossil fuels. That wasn't confirmed today, but it will provide some price stability, according to Mr. Raban.
It will create an opportunity for sustainable and sensible competition within the electricity sector. Also, it will stabilize just a small part of every ratepayer's electricity bill by replacing fuel costs with solar energy, allowing part of our electricity bills to be stable for the next 20 years.
The project will cost $20 million to develop, but the minister notes government will collect rent for the land used to house the new plant. Founder and CEO of Saturn Power, Doug Wagner, says the use of renewable energy sources worldwide is growing exponentially by a 1,000-fold increase within the last decade.
Not only does solar make environmental sense, it makes economic sense. Unlike oil, you don't need to pay import costs to import sunshine.
The new plant will produce up to 6 megawatts of energy at peak periods. Belco says the highest summer peak demand for the island was over 122 megawatts, meaning the new plant will be a useful addition rather than a major contributor to the island's energy needs. Jasmine Patterson reporting for Bermuda Broadcasting News.
In other news, is it time for students to have the option of learning the Portuguese language in schools? Well, the island's Honorary Portuguese Council believes it should happen. Tarai Trott asked Andrea Manes de Souza about the idea shortly after the announcement of a public holiday in honor of the Portuguese contribution to Bermuda.
Posso ler. É o ponto mais alto.
Actually, a couple years ago, at the time I was president of Vasco da Gama Club, and we were trying to revamp the mandate to teach Portuguese in schools. And we were starting with going through Bermuda College as a starting place at that point, because I know years before it had been talked about, and I think previous Premier Eura Brownthing at the time also had discussed it coming on. And we had an initiative with Bermuda College, and we held some town hall meetings at Vasco da Gama Club to see the interest. And at the time, the director of the school of Bermuda College was in shock of how many people showed up to the town hall meetings at Vasco da Gama Club to support. And it was all walks of life, black, white, old, young, everyone.
Shark shocks beachgoers in Shelly Bay. That's in just a few minutes.
For seasickness last week, and they're terrible.
That's strange.
I know. I put one behind each ear like you're supposed to, and nothing happened.
These are tablets. You're meant to take them with water.
I got this pump for my asthma. Hasn't changed anything.
Show me how you're using it. It's an inhaler. You're meant to breathe it in.
Well, this toothpaste, definitely off.
It's a hemorrhoid cream.
Well, that explains why my gums are shrinking.
ZBM Realty & Associates services all your real estate needs. Our agents have years of real estate experience specializing in selling of properties, renting of properties, property management, vacation rental. So whether you're looking to move to another location, selling your home, purchasing a new home, or a landlord looking for assistance in managing your property, give us a call today. One of our experienced agents will be more than willing to assist you with all your housing needs. Call us on 234-2050 or visit our website, jbmrealtyandassociates.com.
Turning to sports, a Bermudian cricketer is drafted to play in Canada. That story and much more from Earl Basden.
Kamau Lavrock was drafted in the 12th round of the Canadian 2020 League for the Vancouver Knights.
Lavrock will be in the same team as names such as Chris Gale, Andre Russell, Evan Lewis, and Tim Southey. Turning to local cricket and Premier Division action, the Southampton Rangers head into the St. George's Cricket Club their first Premier 50-over defeat of the season with a 76-run victory at the Wellington Oval. Batting first, Southampton Rangers scored 245 for 7 in their allotted 50 overs. Trey Manders was their top scorer with 74. Treadwell Gibbons was the pick of the St. George's bowlers with 10 overs, 2 for 45. In reply, St. George's Cricket Club were bowled out for 169. Gibbons was the top scorer with 107 not out. Malachi Jones was the pick of the Southampton Rangers bowlers for figures of 10 overs, 2 maidens, 6 for 25. St. David's Cricket Club remained undefeated after their 83-run victory over Western Stars. St. David scored 234 all out and then bowled Western Stars out for 154. In First Division play, Warwick Workmen's defeated the Devonshire Recreation Club by 3 wickets. Devonshire Recreation Club were out for 179, with Warwick Workmen's scoring 183 for 7. Flats Victoria won by 9 runs over PHC. Flats scored 209 for 6 and restricted PHC to 200 for 9 after 50 overs. The 7th annual Yugo Girls All-Female Road Race took place in Hamilton yesterday along Front Street. The team of Stepeka Sprinkova, Krista Dyer, and Charlene Souza, making up the Go Flora Go team, recorded the fastest time of 22:46. The Parlaville Plotters team of Lucy Chin, Louise Wells, and Rebecca Shepard was second in a time of 23:51, and the Firecrackers were the third team across the line in a time of 24:20. That team was made up of Carrie Butterfield, Patricia Borland, and Teresa Humphreys. Nicholas Pilgrim competed in the USA Triathlon Youth Elite Cup in Wisconsin yesterday. Pilgrim finished 8th out of 75 competitors, clocking a time of 31:03. Tyler Smith competed in the German Triathlon Bundesliga as a member of the Recon Tri-Finish Monsters. Smith finished 17th out of 80 starters, helping his team claim a 5th place finish out of 16 teams. Graduate student D.H. Miners of the Franklin Pierce University Men's Track and Field Program has earned All-American First Team honors in the 800 meters outdoor from the United States Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association. For Miners, it's the 3rd outdoor All-American selection as well as his 6th overall. He previously earned All-American honors for the 2015 and 2017 outdoor seasons as well as the 2014-15, 2015-16, and 2016-17 indoor campaigns, all in the 800 meters. Meanwhile, Tyrone Smith finished 8th, competing in the IAAF World Challenge FBK Games in the Netherlands. Smith recorded a top leap of 7.62 meters. Caitlin Bobb is a 15-year-old freshman at the Hartford Technical High School. Bobb is the daughter of Dornak Bobb, nee Douglas, who represented Bermuda at the 1992 Olympic Games in Spain. This is Bobb's first year running track, and her improving performances have earned her a double in the 200 and 400 at the Maryland State Track and Field Championship.
Winning's I've always been a winner, and I always wanted to win, but I honestly wanted to beat the clock. As a freshman, I had to get past 56. 56 is my shot point. I had to get past 56, and I did it 58, 55.8.
Braxton Stowe watched from the sidelines as his St. Louis University baseball teammates made an early bid to earn its first win in the NCAA Baseball Championship event since 1960, but they were unable to seal the deal. After surrendering an early lead, St. Louis University played it runs in the 8th and 9th to tie it, but allowed a game winner in the bottom of the 9th as they fell 9-8 to Missouri State. In YAO Youth Baseball League action at the YAO Park on Saturday, it was a doubleheader. In the opening game, it saw the Orioles just run out of time. Due to time limits on a game, the Orioles and Cubs game ended after 5 innings, with the Cubs winning 14-12. In afternoon action, the Yankees pulled off their first win of the season with a convincing 16-5 win over the Nationals. The Bermuda Equestrian Federation have received official confirmation that Marvin Brengman and his Arabian horse, MM Godvia Chocolate, have qualified for the 2018 World Equestrian Games in the discipline of endurance riding. This will mark the first time that Bermuda will have a competitor in the discipline of endurance riding. Bermuda have finished the Davis Cup Americas Division 3 in 9th place. The Bermuda men's Davis Cup team featured Gavin Manders, David Thomas, Jensen Bascom, and Trey Mallory. Bermuda finished with a record of 1 win and 11 defeats. On Saturday at the Balmona Hills Golf Course, the Clyde Bass Somerset Cricket Club Golf Tournament took place. The Kelvin Hendrickson team, sponsored by Shannon's Boutique, were the winners with a score of 56. Denton Otterbridge team was second with a score of 58, while the BIU team, led by Chris Furbett, were declared the third place finishers after finishing on 60 alongside Kyle Lightbourne's Robin Hood team. Zayla Smith was the ladies closest to the pin winner, with Kelvin Hendrickson winning the men's closest to the pin. Gilda Furbett was the ladies' longest drive winner, with Stephen Roberts the men's longest drive winner.
I'm Earl Baisden with Bermuda Broadcasting Sports.
Thanks, Earl. Well, last but not least, if you went down to Shelley Bay on Sunday, you may have had a shock. A shark was spotted swimming close to shore, no doubt causing some anxiety for the kite surfers on the beach. It's believed to be a hammerhead, which can grow to almost 20 feet, though this one was much smaller. In April, a hammerhead of similar size was spotted in Flats Inlet. There's speculation that it may be the same individual, but don't worry, attacks by hammerheads on humans are very rare, with various hammerhead species preferring to snack on skates and rays. That's our newscast. I'm Diane Brewer. Thank you for sharing your Monday evening with us, everyone. Good night.